Hello students, welcome to EPG Patashala. I am Dr. Prabhu Jirli from Banaras Hindu University. Today we are going to talk on the module History of Extension Services, especially in the post-independence extension efforts as a part 4. This is going to cover the paper Concept and Dimensions of Extension Education. The objective of this module is to understand the importance of technological inputs and role of women. After having discussed various state level innovations in the post training and visit system, now let us move on to one important program launched by Indian Council of Agriculture Research in the year 1994. The program was based on the introduction of need-based interventions in the farming system of the farmer. And because ICAR introduced this particular program, the scientists, until and unless the farmers are asked to intervene in their farming systems, they are not giving any advices. The name of the program was Institution Village Linkage Program, popularly known as IVLP. The program was having a different approach of need-based intervention. Until and unless farmers ask for the information or service, it will not be served or provided. It was more of a demand-driven approach rather than supply-driven approach. So, we have been discussing about the supply and demand-driven approaches at various levels. So, until and unless the farmer feels or the end user feels there is a need of intervention by a particular person, so that should not be provided. So, that was the basic premise here. The same thing happens in case of human health system also. Until and unless we have some health problems, we are not going to the doctors, or doctors are not coming to us for advising regarding the health. Similarly, in case of IVLP, the services were provided only on demand. The program consolidated good number of researchable issues throughout the country through this particular intervention, that is Institution Village Linkage Program. To address these problems that were gathered under this project, a mega project was launched in the year 1994 in the name of National Agricultural Technology Project. So, now we will be discussing the NATP at length. National Agricultural Technology Project initiated in India with the financial assistance from World Bank by Government of India during November 1998. It consists of three main components. The first component is to improve the efficiency of the organizational and management system of Indian Council of Agricultural Research. The second component dealt with enhancing the performance and effectiveness of research programs and scientists in responding to location-specific needs of the farmers. The third component was to pilot test innovations to improve the management of technology dissemination activities with greater accountability and participation by farming community. The project intended to strengthen the basic and strategic research in India. Also, NATP aimed to enhance organizational efficiency and management system of National Agricultural Research and Extension System. Initially, the model was planned and implemented in 7 states, namely Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand and Maharashtra. In these 7 states, 4 districts from each state were selected. Put together, there were 28 agricultural technology management agencies. The Innovations in Technology Dissemination component of NATP intended to pilot test the new organizational arrangement and operational procedures, not merely strengthening the extension system. The basic objective was to decentralize decision-making process to the grassroots levels through the interventions of Agricultural Technology Management Agency. The second objective was to enhance the farmer input into program planning and resource allocation, especially at the block level, and to increase accountability to stakeholders. The third objective was to augment the program coordination and integration so that the program thrust such as farming systems innovations, farmer organizations, technology gaps, and natural resource management can be more effectively and efficiently implemented. The models of extension were discussed in previous extension efforts were emphasizing on supply-driven model. Beneficiary is not at all taken into account in planning and implementation of the program. All the time, we invited them to accept the programs offered by the governments. Under Agricultural Technology Management Agency, the process is just reverse. The end user has to participate in the planning process and has a role in implementation also. The key issue is, if I am part of the planning process, I accept my responsibility at implementation and evaluation stage also. Hence, largely we can say that Agriculture Technology Management Agency is an agency involved in bottom-up planning process, and this is the secret of success of Atma. Atma is supported by governing board and management committee. The governing board is a policy-making body and provide guidance as well as review the progress of functioning of the Atma. We said that Atma has a governing body and management committee. What is the composition of this governing body of Atma? So when we look into the composition, the district magistrate or the district collector is the chairman of Atma. What is the logic behind appointing or nominating the district magistrate or the collector as a chairman of Atma? The basic premise is at district level, because Atma is a registered society at the district level, and when we are aware of all the developmental agencies and all the developmental programs are coming under the administrative control of the district magistrate. But before implementation of Atma, all these developmental departments were taking up the activities independently. There was no common platform to come together and to discuss together. Now, as a management intervention, Atma provided a common platform under the leadership of the respective district magistrate or the district collector, so that you are going to plan the developmental programs for the district in a holistic manner. And the role of the district magistrate is to ensure all these actors of development or the members of this governing board are coming to one particular platform, and now they discuss regarding the development. So that is the basic objective with which the district magistrate or the collector has been nominated as a chairman of Atma at every district. The chief executive officer or the chief development officer of that district is nominated as a vice chairman, because he is also looking of the Panchayati Raj institutions and various other developmental initiatives at the district level. Hence, he is CEO, the chief executive officer or the chief development officer of district is a vice chairman. The joint director or the deputy director of agriculture is the member who is the head of the agricultural activities in a particular district. The other members include representative from the zonal research station or Krishi Vigyana Kendra, one farmer representative to whom we identify him as the progressive farmer of that district, one livestock producer, the progressive livestock producer of that particular district, and one horticulture farmer, means who is growing good amount of horticultural crops, is going to be the member of Atma governing body. One representative of women farmers is the member of Atma. So, there are women farmers interest group and one member will be there to represent the women of that particular district. And there is one representative of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe farmers, so that the downtrodden sections of the society are also taken care of while planning and implementation of the programs at district level. A representative of non-governmental organization is the member of Atma. There might be a good number of NGOs which are in operation in that particular district. It is the district magistrate who nominates one representative of the NGO who are doing very good developmental activities in that particular district. And apart from that, so with this process, an effort is being made to involve NGOs in developmental initiatives by the government in an official manner. The moment these organizations become part of these developmental initiatives, development gets appropriate shape. So, that is what is the reason behind involvement of these non-governmental organizations. Then coming to the next member, that is the lead bank officer of the district. So, every district is having a particular bank as a lead bank. The concept of lead bank is the bank or the institution which is nominated as a lead bank for the district is going to provide all types of financial facilities and the benefits to that particular district. So, for example, any sorts of financial assistance given by the government, it may be the crop insurance or it may be any types of assistance that are given to the people or subsidies or whatever it is, all these things are routed through the concept of lead bank only. So, that is why one representative of the lead bank, the financial institution, will be the member of Atma. A representative of district industrial center. District Industrial Center is the unit of MSME, Ministry of Micro, Medium and Small Enterprises. So, they are going to support all these cottage industries and small scale industries by imparting the skills as well as by providing all possible assistance to establish small scale industries, so that they are also part of this Atma, so that the people can get the direct benefits of the programs of MSME. Representative of Agricultural Marketing Board to take care of the issues associated with marketing, and the representatives of the input supplying associations. The input suppliers in case of agriculture and allied enterprises are playing a very key role, because as we have been discussing, the agriculture and allied sciences are time bound activities. The inputs that we need, there is a specific time limit. So, inputs are to be ensured at that particular time, then only we can harness the benefits of these enterprises. So, the institutions or the organizations, that is the input supply associations, are being made party to this particular commitment to provide the quality inputs and to provide the inputs in time when it is required. So, there is one more member from some allied sectors like fisheries or sericulture and whatever the enterprises that are prevalent in that particular district, dependent means the prevalent enterprises of that district. You can have one more member as a member of Atma Governing Board. And there will be one project director of Atma who is an ex officio member secretary cum treasurer so of this Atma governing body, and who is responsible for implementation of all the activities and the plans developed by Agriculture Technology Management Agency. Normally, he is the district agriculture officer or the program coordinator of a Krishi Vigyan Kendra or any person of that rank nominated by the governing body of Atma is going to act as the project director. So, these people put together, they are going to prepare the action plans. Now, we have seen the composition. Just for preparation of this action plan, there are representatives of the farmers, there are representatives of research institutions, there are representatives of the financial institutions, there are representatives of the marketing, the line departments, input supply agencies, non-governmental organizations. So now the committee or the team is very comprehensive and competent, and they are going to plan for a smaller unit like district. So, this particular group is going to plan various developmental initiatives, and what are the functions of Atma that we will be looking into now. So, we were discussing about the composition of the governing body, and at the end we said that the functions of Atma. What are the functions of Atma governing board? The first and foremost function is to review and approve the strategic research and extension plan and annual work plan that are prepared and submitted by the participating units. The strategic research and extension plan is an unique intervention of Atma wherein all the stakeholders that we discussed so far are going to prepare this SREP, and that is being approved by the governing board. Once SREP is prepared, it is just like a blueprint for one particular year, one crop year, to take up all the developmental activities in case of agriculture and allied sciences. So, that is what is the importance of SREP. Receive and review annual reports presented by the participating units, providing feedback and direction to them as needed for various research and extension activities being carried out within the district. So, obtaining the feedback and directing these feedback to the research units, that is the continuous process in agriculture and allied sciences, and that is what is one of the important function of this Atma governing board. Receive and allocate project funds to carry out priority research, extension and related activities within the district. This particular intervention, this particular function of Atma makes Atma more stronger. Earlier, the funds were allocated from the respective headquarters of the state or the national headquarters. A particular district may or may not receive the funds, appropriate funds or the sufficient funds required for that particular district. But with the introduction of Atma, the SREP is going to talk about the budgetary allocation also. Whatever the programs that are planned and respective fund allocation for each program is clearly spelled out in SREP, and it is the responsibility of the institutions to provide appropriate funding mechanism so that we can take up the developmental activities. So, this is another important function of Atma. Now, with this particular model, there is no dearth of funds at the district level to take up the developmental initiatives. Then, foster the organizations and development of farmers interest groups and farmers organizations within the district. So, we will be understanding this farmers organizations and various other issues just after this, but the basic issue is even under Atma model, the emphasis is on bringing the people together. That is the first step for introducing the change. So that's what is more essential to understand here. The fifth function is to facilitate the greater involvement of private sector and firms and organizations in providing inputs, technical support, agro processing and marketing services to the farmers. This particular issue is highlighting the role of public-private partnership in agricultural development. Again, I am reminding you, when I say agriculture, it is not only the crop enterprise, it involves various other allied enterprises of agriculture also at the same time. In that context, when there are various institutions belonging to maybe the private sector or cooperative sector, so there is going to be a synergistic effect in providing the inputs, in providing the technical support and in agro processing and marketing services, so that the ultimate beneficiary, our clientele system, are going to be the beneficiaries of this particular interventions. The sixth function of Atma is to encourage agriculture lending institutions to increase the availability of capital resources. Poor and marginal farmers, especially scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and women farmers. Even though there is no discrimination on the basis of caste or gender as far as providing the financial assistance or the capital requirement for these farmers, government is making it clearly, categorically, again and again, so that all the sections of the societies get an equal opportunity of involving in the developmental initiatives and change their socio-economic status. Encourage each line department plus the Krishi Vigyan Kendra zonal research station to establish farmer advisory committees to provide feedback and input into their research and extension programs. It is the responsibility of all these institutions, may it be the Krishi Vigyan Kendra or zonal research station for that matter. So any such agricultural research institution, they should involve in the research and developmental activities and to extract the feedback and supply to the research system. So that is the continuous process. Enter into contracts and arrangements as appropriate to promote and support agricultural development activities within the district. And the 10th function was to identify other sources of financial support and that would help ensure the financial sustainability of Atma and its participating units. It is being emphasized here that only depend upon the governmental support, but also we can explore the other financial sources so that Atma model becomes more relevant in such matter. So that's what is the emphasis. The next issue is to establish revolving funds, accounts for each participating unit and encourage each unit to make available technical services such as artificial insemination or soil testing on a cost recovery basis, moving towards full cost recovery in a phased manner. So, in case of extension, we have a particular approach known as the cost sharing approach. Ultimately, it is a no loss, no profit based model wherein we are sharing the actual cost of a particular function. May it be artificial insemination or soil testing. It involves some amount of cost. Maybe we need to procure chemicals, we need to have glasswares and we need to have a manpower for analysis and all these things. That involves a particular amount. And what is the amount that is expenditure that what we are making? So that will be equally divided among the beneficiaries so that the unit become self-sustainable over longer period of time. So that's what is the Atma model, wherein we are emphasizing on cost recovery or cost sharing approach of extension. Arrange for the periodic audit of Atma, which is the mandatory requirement of any governmental program and adopt and amend the rules and bylaws of Atma whenever it is essential. That provision is also made in this so that we can understand this particular model of Atma in a more holistic manner. In the previous part, we were discussing about various functions of Atma, wherein we made certain institutional arrangements at block or at the village level, which one of such institution is Forum Information and Advisory Center. Forum Information and Advisory Center functions at the block level or mandal level. It manages extension activities within the block or mandal. The FIAC, Forum Information and Advisory Center, acts as extension planning and operational arm of Atma. It is the common meeting point for line departments to prepare detailed extension programs and coordinate their implementation. Also, at this level, farmers' inputs are to be mobilized through a Forum Advisory Center, a mechanism including representatives of all major stakeholders help to set extension priorities across each program area and allocate resources. Forum Advisory Committees is constituted for providing a formal feedback mechanism. It is constituted representing all the stakeholders and farmers, representatives of farmer organizations within the block. The FAC helps to set block extension priorities and recommend resource allocation across program areas. The chairman of FAC would be elected from the farmer representatives on rotation basis. FAC shall meet once in a month during the season and quarterly in lean season. Previously, I was mentioning about preparation of SREP. So, at block level, we have two institutional arrangements like FAC and FIAC. Whatever the inputs these FAC or FIAC from each block are giving to plan for their district. So, the consolidation is being done at the district level by Atma governing board, but the basic plan is being prepared at the block level by these institutions. One more institution that we come across under Atma model is the farmers organization. Farmers organizations are encouraged at village level, and village level groups would in turn evolve into the commodity associations, marketing cooperatives, and other types of farmers organizations at the block and district level. At village level, farmer interest groups and farmer associations were involved in the preparation of block action plans. These organizations coordinate in organizing demonstrations, on-farm adoptive trials, and give feedback to the extension and research. The representatives are directly involved in block level activities and also at the governing board of Atma. The modus operandi is similar to farmers' cooperatives which were promoted in early 70s. The thumb rule is until and unless the grassroots are involved in the process of planning and implementation of the program, we cannot see the change in the farmer's situation. Looking into the response of farmers in planning and implementation of programs, in the year 2006, the concept of Agricultural Technology Management Agency, which was running in only 28 districts of 7 states, was transferred to Ministry of Agriculture for nationwide implementation of the program. Since 2006, every district is having one Atma to take care of needs of the farmers. Began as a project of ICAR, now a nationwide mechanism of extension. In all these earlier discussions, we were discussing the top-down approach as a drawback was totally emphasized under Atma, and all efforts are made to make it the bottom up. As you have seen, the basic plans are prepared by the farmers organization, farmers advisory committee, and the farmers information and advisory centers, and that are being sent to their respective district headquarters. District headquarters is receiving such plans from all the blocks of a districts, and final SREP is prepared. So this is how all the stakeholders, especially the basic end users, are going to be the part of this program planning process. So that is how this model is running very successfully throughout the country. In the year 2013, a revised model of Atma was developed by the Ministry of Agriculture. The revised model included participation of mass media, Krishi Vigyan Kendra, e-mediated extension services, private sector participation in research and extension services, and involvement of grassroots institutions in planning and implementation process. It is not the new model that Atma is developing, it is only inclusion of certain elements which were left out, like electronic mediation, involvement of the mass media including Prasar Bharati, and all these things now are part of Atma model. The issue of technology dissemination was one aspect of NATP. The other aspects which came out with large number of research issues were addressed through the objectives set forth for the project. In many areas of research, it was felt that there should be formation of network to conduct research and to share the results of research. Hence, National Agricultural Innovation Project was launched. NAIP, National Agricultural Innovation Project, was planned and implemented for application of science, advancement of science, human resource development, policy and process innovations for doing science differently. The project was launched in July 2006. The outlay of the project was US dollars 250 million, out of which US dollar 200 million was credit assistance from the World Bank, and 50 million US dollars was provided by Government of India. The project has four components: one on role strengthening of ICAR and SAU, and three on research. In the post training and visit system, there were good number of state level innovations introduced in each state to cope up with the situation. Also, there were innovative models emerged suiting to the local needs. While discussing the training and visit system, we said that it is staff intensive, and there were the financial inputs or the cost factor was one of the important factor in case of training and visit system. But that is the primary model that what we had at the state level and at the national level, and which gave us the extension mechanism for the entire country. World Bank supported the model of training and visit system from 1974 to 1990s. But in the post 1990s, World Bank said that now you need to support on your own, and World Bank withdrew its financial support to this particular program. At that juncture, the union government said that since agriculture is a state subject, state governments are supposed to support this particular program. The state governments were not that financially sound to support the programs like training and visit system. So, what are these innovations that emerged at the state level? Under different states, we will be discussing a few such examples, how the extension needs of the people were taken care of, especially in the post training and visit system, wherein technology is an essential component, but our emphasis under this module is what is the role of the extension and what is the role of women in transfer of this technology. Coming to the state of Karnataka, wherein the concept of Raita Samparka Kendra was developed. What is the concept of this Raita Samparka Kendra? It is an institution wherein an office is set up at the block level. It is having the operational area of around 5 to 6 kilometers or at the maximum 10 kilometers from where the office is set up. In the training and visit system, the extension worker used to pay the regular visits to his clients, but under RSK model, Raita Samparka Kendra model, the farmer is expected to visit that particular office for getting all types of inputs, including appropriate information. With this, we have overcome the problem of mobility of extension workers. It involves a lot of financial inputs, so that particular thing was taken care of under this particular model. And the moment the farmer visits this Raita Samparka Kendra, all the government schemes are at his disposal and all the government programs will be informed to that individual. At the same time, he can purchase the inputs, he can obtain the information and he can get all the benefits like subsidy and so on and so forth at one point, that is RSK, which is situated at the respective block headquarter. With this model, the pressure on the mobility was overcome and farmers were forced to come to this particular place so that they are going to get the appropriate information, and 5 kilometers is not much distance to cover for a farmer for getting the appropriate information. So, that was the model established by Karnataka. Coming to the state of Maharashtra, which has also developed the same model with similar inputs, but the terminology that was given was agri-polyclinic, wherein you will have a range of agricultural experts similar to the model of RSK are sitting at a place of block headquarter and taking care of the information and other needs of the farmers or the clients. The moment they come to this particular clinic or the Kendra, they are synonymous, they are getting all possible support for their cultivation aspects as well as their problems will be taken care of. Then moving on to the state of Madhya Pradesh, wherein the concept of para extension worker was introduced. So, this is an innovation for the extension education that we can say. So far, we were having the full-fledged professionals that we discussed under the concept of professionalism and extension as a profession, but the Madhya Pradesh has come out with the concept of para extension workers. They call them as a Kisan Bandhu. Kisan Bandhu is basically an actual cultivator who is coming from the villages, but he is given the training and he will be identified as a Kisan Bandhu, and he is responsible for taking care of the extension needs of the people or the information needs of the people, because he is loaded with the information by the district officers. Then he is expected to take up these activities of transfer of this information to their in the vicinity of his villages. Similarly, for taking care of the women farmers or to motivate the women, the similar concept like Kisan Bandhu, in case of female, they were called as Kisan Saheli, so that they can discuss comfortably with the female farmers or the women farmers, so that they can also take a part in these developmental initiatives. The similar model was adopted in case of Uttar Pradesh also, wherein the concept of Kisan Mitra was introduced. The Kisan Mitra is an actual cultivator. He is not paid the salary for the extension work that he is anticipated to take up, as we discussed in case of Kisan Bandhu. The Kisan Mitra is being given the training at the respective district headquarter, and he is sent back to his village because he is an actual cultivator, and he is taking up these extension activities, and he is paid, was paid an honorarium, nominal honorarium, but it is not the salary. Later this scheme withdrawn also, but this particular efforts gave the inputs that yes, we can have the para extension workers also, in comparison to the medical profession what has the paramedical staff. Similarly, we can have para extension staff. Yes, it is a potential area that we can think of this type of innovations that are coming up through these exercises. In the similar model, the state of Rajasthan has adopted the model of Kisan Mandal, wherein a cluster of villages were provided with one extension worker, and he is going to take care of the needs of the information needs of the farmers at the block level. Coming to the state of Uttarakhand, wherein a novel idea of employing non-governmental organizations for taking up the extension activities was done. The advantages of these non-governmental organizations and the topographical situation of the state of Uttarakhand, there are some similarities. As we have said and discussed in our earlier modules, non-governmental organizations have a definite role and an important role or a key role to play in the development. So, the basic idea why we are involving these non-governmental organizations is their close knitted relationships with the grassroots level people. We cannot expect that type of relationships or the rapport from a government personnel or a government employee, but the NGOs are having that potential of establishing that type of rapport with the people. And coming to the topographical terrain of the state of Uttarakhand, as you are all aware, the state is totally hilly in nature. The topography is hilly in nature. So, if we do not have the vehicular support to move on, so it becomes difficult to reach the places. Distance is one of the important factor, then the hilly terrain is another important factor, and if you do not get any support, mobility support, then it becomes difficult to come back after completing your extension activities. You may have to stay in the village for a day or a couple of days. All these factors force the state of Uttarakhand to employ non-governmental organizations which can take up this type of jobs very easily under the difficult terrain like hilly areas. And that model was also successful and people started getting the benefits out of that. So, these are some of the examples that we discussed. So, regarding the state level innovations. One institutional innovation that we are going to discuss at length is ATMA. The full form of ATMA is Agricultural Technology Management Agency, which was a component of NATP project, National Agricultural Technology Project. So, the details that we will be discussing under NATP. The unique nature of the project was involvement of private sector in research. Private organizations contributed in many ways: research, knowledge management and dissemination, marketing and so on. Depending on the needs of the consortium, the nature, strength and interest of the private organization, they started contributing to this research. So, this is the unique contribution of NAIP that we can say. The emphasis in NAIP was on small farmers. The small farmers individually cannot be formal partners of the consortia, but the consortia worked with them in a participatory mode. However, well-organized interest groups of small farmers, became the partners of consortia. Private sector was also given due emphasis under NAIP. They were encouraged to contribute in terms of research, knowledge management and dissemination, marketing and so on, depending on the needs of the consortia as well as the needs of the community. All these sectors wherein the government is working, equal opportunities were there for private sector also. The approach helped in enhancing the research and extension base of the National Agricultural Research System. Till now, we were discussing good number of programs on agriculture and allied sciences. Now, there were some programs implemented for ensuring development of women. These programs included Mahila Samruddhi Yojana and Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, because in objective we said that we are going to understand the role of women also. So that is why, to promote the women participation in the developmental initiatives, these were two exclusive programs launched by Government of India. Let us look into them one by one. The Mahila Samriddhi Yojana, launched on 2nd October 1993. Under this scheme, the rural women of 18 years or above age are encouraged to open their savings account in the rural post office of their area with a minimum of rupees 4. So that is the minimum balance that they should have for opening the account. This scheme is running through 1.32 lakh post office throughout the country. The objective of this scheme include to sensitize women about their role in economic activities and cultivate the habit of saving. Basically, to motivate women to cultivate the habit of saving in formal institutions like by opening the account. Otherwise, women are having the habit of saving, but not in the institutions like the banks or the post office or so on. The second objective was capacity building of rural women. So it depends on the interest in which area they want to enhance their skills. Based on their needs, the inputs were provided to them. The third objective was encouraging them to form self-help groups and provide them microcredit support. Organizing women into self-help groups is coming up in a very large way throughout the country. So, wherein we are emphasizing on women should come together and whatever the amount that they can save, let them save in groups so that the below poverty line level can be crossed with their own effort. As a part of the program, a group of 20 women belonging to minority communities are given training in any craft or production activities. The group is formed into self-help group during the training itself. After training, the group is provided credit. The scheme envisages that each woman may deposit under Mahila Samruddhi Yojana account up to rupees 300 in a year, to which government would contribute 25% as incentive or bonus to that particular amount, that is rupees 300. Since July 2001, Mahila Samruddhi scheme is being merged with Mahila Swayam Siddha Yojana. The provisions remain same, only there are minor modifications in the program and it is being renamed as Mahila Swayam Siddha Yojana. Students, after having the detailed discussion on NATP, National Agricultural Technology Project, now let us move on to NAIP, National Agricultural Innovation Project. As we have seen, the NATP was introduced in 1998 and it went up to 2006. After completion of this NATP, the issues that were emerged as a part of this National Agricultural Technology Project were in need of good amount of research support, and the issues that were emerged out of that project need to be addressed in the subsequent years. So, to take care of that particular aspect, National Agricultural Innovation Project was launched in the year 2006. There were four basic components as far as NAIP project was considered. The first component dealt with ICAR as a catalyzing agent for management of change in the Indian National Agricultural Research System. So, the role of ICAR as a nodal agency to coordinate the research activities, now it is going to be transformed into the role of the catalyzing agent for management of change. So, wherein we are giving enough emphasis on the management aspects even in the research system, because that is the need of the hour. The second component dealt with research on production to consumption systems, which emphasized upon various issues related to value addition. And the third component was research on sustainable rural livelihood security. We are taking up various programs for increasing agricultural production. The question remains is, are they getting enough financial returns out of these interventions, or is there any need for diversifying the livelihood security aspects? So, if at all there is need for diversification of these livelihood opportunities, because under livelihood opportunities agriculture is one of the component, and apart from that various other allied enterprises or the complementary enterprises or the supplementary enterprises, all these things are going to be part of the diversification of livelihood security approach, and they were emphasized under component 3. Coming to the component 4, wherein we are again and again talking of the applied research, but the applied research is going to be benefited with the basic research. So, the emphasis on basic research was not that much in agricultural research system. So, that is why under NAIP it was emphasized that basic and strategic research in frontier areas of agricultural sciences was emphasized under component 4, so that we should have the basic research support and we should strengthen the research support, so that our applied research is going to get the benefits of the outcomes of this basic research. So, with these 4 basic components, the program of NAIP was launched. Friends, we were emphasizing on the role of women, especially from the development point of view, for which we have seen some programs in the past also. And again, coming to one of the most important program that was planned and implemented for women was the Rashtriya Myla Kosh, or the National Credit Fund for Women. So, this program was launched on 30th March in the year 1993. The objectives of this program include, number 1, to promote or undertake activities for promotion of or to provide credit as an instrument of socio-economic change and development through the provision of a package of financial and social development services for development of women. We said that credit is an instrument for change. Definitely, if the credit facilities are there for women, definitely they are going to be the carriers of development. Under that context, that objective was framed. Coming to the second objective, to promote and support schemes for development of all development of facilities for credit for women. For the credit is provided for what purpose? For sustenance of their existing employment, for generation of further employment, so that they can include more and more women under these programs, and for asset creation for individual as well as for the societal benefit, for asset redemption, and for uh, tiding over the consumption, social and the contingent needs of the society. So, all these things were brought under this particular umbrella of Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, and today we can say that there are more than 22 lakh groups that are working under Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. Through these approach, that 22 lakh self-help groups, through these groups they are changing their socio-economic situation. So, with these programs, so now let us coming to the conclusion of this part, wherein the programs planned and implemented in the post training and visit system were altogether different from the earlier programs. An effort was made to adopt participatory principles and to make the process of planning bottom up rather than the existing model of top down. It is evident from the understanding of the outcomes of all schemes that people's participation is the key for ensuring development. Development is a slow process and development always offers resistance. When we cross the boundaries of resistance, then we can realize that particular aspect of development. Thank you.